Right, welcome to another session of Optical Communication Networks, Unit 2, Optical Detectors and Optical Fiber Components. Today we discuss about the topic of transmitters concept. Here what are the basic elements which we are used in the transmitting section. First, the elements which were used in transmitter section we discussed, right? That is what are the light sources which we are used, that is LEDs and lasers. We discussed again what is the different type of LEDs we are used and what is the different types of lasers are used. First we discuss about laser concept. Right here, what is the use of lasers? What is the use of lasers compared to LEDs? The lasers are which is used for chromatic in nature and coherent in nature, that is to transmit a light signal in a particular direction, not for all direction, particular direction we have to transmit, that is a coherent structure. Here the laser acts as the amplifiers also, that is yesterday we discussed about erbium doped fiber optic amplifier and Raman amplifier and semiconductor based amplifier. We are using pump sources, right? The pump source is nothing but we are using lasers, that is the lasers also used like a optical amplifiers also. Right here in this lasers, where exactly you are using these lasers? Here the lasers basically we are used and it is constructed in a cavity structures. Cavity structure. What is meant by cavity structure? Cavity structure is nothing but it is a closed waveguide. Closed waveguide. Inside that closed waveguide, we have to fix this laser. Then we have to drill one hole at one direction, that the total light energy transmitted in a particular direction only. What is the principle of laser? The principle of laser is population inversion. Here the population inversion working with the principle of absorption, spontaneous emission and stimulated emission of radiation. Right. First we discuss about the first structure of the laser is Fabry-Perot resonator for a laser diode. Fabry-Perot resonator for a laser diode. Nothing but Fabry-Perot resonator, nothing but we have to take a cavity. The cavity structure is like a Fabry-Perot resonator. Nothing but we have to take all walls of a waveguide should be closed. This is the waveguide, rectangular waveguide. All walls should be closed, but one side of the wall of a waveguide should we have to drill a small hole. What is the use? To take optical output. To take optical output. You see this one. This is the optical here. This is the cavity ends. One side of the cavity is we are using reflection layer. Reflection layer, and the total waveguide can be divided into 3-layer concept. The first one and third layer is called as the optical confinement layer. The middle layer is the active layer. What is the active layer? The active layer nothing but we have to apply a forward bias to laser diode. Then it generates a light signal. Light signal. Here the one end of this cavity resonator we have to fix reflection layer. Another end we are getting semi-reflecting. What is use of reflecting or semi-reflecting layers here? Once the light signal is generated inside this cavity, we are getting output from only one side. Suppose the light signal is generated, it goes in this direction and reflect back and finally reach it here. Likewise, the number of reflections we are getting, the finally reach in the only one direction, optical power. That side is a chromatic or coherent structure. This is also getting as a feedback, nothing but based upon these reflection layers, we are getting feedback structure. This is about longitudinal, this is lateral direction, and this is transverse. Here, what is the length of this longitudinal, lateral, and transverse walls in a Fabry-Perot resonator for laser diode? Here, the dimensions of this cavity is 25 to 500 micrometer longitudinal, and 5 to 15 micrometer for lateral, and 0.1 to 0.2 micrometer transverse. That is the dimensions of this one. What is the longitudinal, what is the lateral, and what is the transverse medium dimensions. Here, what is the exact materials which we are used for the designing of a laser diode? This is a heterojunction structure. Already we know that the concept we discussed in first unit, that is about what is meant heterojunction, what is meant double heterojunction structure. That is heterojunction is nothing but we are using two different types of semiconductor material. Double heterojunction we are using both homotype and anti, that is isotope and anti-isotope. Isotope nothing but same materials. Anti-isotope nothing but different materials. Next, second one is distributed feedback laser. Distributed feedback laser. Here series also a cavity, resonator cavity. We are getting output only one direction. This is the optical confinement layers. This is about active layer. Once the light signal is generated, we are applying forward bias to laser diode. Then it transmits different direction. Finally reach the gratings. What is the use of gratings? Gratings nothing but nothing but which is used to transmitted light signal in a particular direction. All we discussed about in previous sections, that is gratings and Bragg gratings. Based upon the slits and distance between the slits is called a pitch. Based upon the direction of the slits only, the signal can be transmitted. We are taking different types of gratings with different refractive index. Finally, the light signal finally distributed to the distributed feedback finally reached to the one end of the resonator cavity. This is about distributed feedback laser. Next, the third one is broad area double heterojunction laser. Broad area double heterojunction laser. This is nothing but a cavity, right? This is nothing but a cavity. This is the active region. That is, it is a p-type material. These are the two confinement layers. This is also p-type. This is a p-type nothing but isotope. P-type and n-type is anti-isotope. And n-type and n plus. We are nothing but here. These are the isotope. This is the double heterojunction structure. Double heterojunction structure. Once we have to apply the forward bias to this one, automatically we are getting the connection can be takes place in the active region. We are getting a light output in these directions, both two directions. That is broad area double heterojunction laser. Next one is strip type laser, strip type geometry laser. Here, what is the use of strip type? Here, the strip type we are using for contacting. For contact. Suppose we are taking suppose PN junction diode. How many leads for PN junction? 2 leads. One is positive, another is negative lead. Similarly, we have to connect. We have to give the power to this laser diode. This is also double heterojunction structure. Here is the emitting region. All the optical power coming in this direction only. This is a strip contact. Strip contact. Nothing but we have to give the power to these strips to working of this laser. Once we are getting forward bias, automatically the conduction takes place between this double heterojunction structure. We are getting output is the optical power. It is about the laser structures. Laser structures. Here, why the lasers are good compared to LED for a long distance? Nothing but the laser diodes are fixed. The lasers are fixed inside the cavities. Why you have to fix the inside the cavity? Nothing but we have to take a light signal in a particular direction. That's why you have to fix a laser in the cavity. But LEDs, it is not possible to fix. That's why the LEDs are incoherent. That is, which emitting in the different direction signals. Suppose you take a normal LED in your laboratories. We have to give some power to that LED, which glows the LED and sends a light signal to different directions, not a particular direction. That's why LEDs are a non-coherent structure. But based upon the cost, laser is high cost compared to LED. And LEDs are not capable of producing high output power like lasers. That is, lasers are getting high power, and LEDs are low speed. and low budget applications and narrow spectral width types of using LEDs. And we discuss about the structures of LEDs, surface emitting LED and edge emitting LED. We are already discussed in first unit, right? Surface emitting LED, edge emitting LEDs. Again, no need to discuss about the structures of LED. Next one is tunable laser. Tunable laser. Here the tunable laser nothing but suppose we want optical signal with a particular wavelength. At that time we have to tune that laser for required wavelength of a signal. At that time we are going for tunable laser. Especially where exactly we are using these tunable lasers in a WDM network. That is what is a WDM? Wavelength division multiplexing networks. Wavelength division multiplex networks. Why we are using these tunable lasers, which provides flexibility to choose transmit wavelength at the source of a light path. This flexibility. Suppose one user you want some wavelength, another user wants some another wavelength, but available light source one single laser. We want required wavelength, we can tune the particular laser. We are getting a particular wavelength of a output. Especially another one is the tunable lasers are which are used in packet switched networks. What about a packet switched network? We have to transmit data in a packet form, not a continuous form. At that time we are going for tunable lasers. Here there are three types of tunable mechanisms are used in the tunable lasers. First one, injecting current into a semiconductor laser. Injecting current into the semiconductor laser. Why? It can change the refractive index of a material, which turn changes in the wavelength. Once the diffractive index change, automatically we change the wavelength of a particular signal by injecting the current. Second one is temperature tuning. Based upon the temperature tuning also, we have changed the wavelength of a particular signal. The third one is mechanical tuning. That is, we are externally we have to tune by using a knob. That is, first one is injecting current. The second one is temperature tuning. The third one is mechanical tuning. Right. These are the three topics related to transmitting side. The first one is light sources. That is, today we discuss is laser concept. What are the different structures of laser? The second one is LED. The third one is tunable lasers. Next, we are going for the next important transmitting element is modulation techniques. Modulation techniques. Here, what is meant by modulation? Modulation is nothing but varying the characteristics of carrier signal with respect to message signal. Which frequency is high? Compare both message signal and carrier signal. Automatically, the carrier signal should be high frequency. Right. Here in this concept, we discuss about direct and external modulation transmitter concept. Right. The most probably used modulation technique we are using is on-off keying. On-off keying. Here, what is mean on-off keying? On is nothing but whenever giving input signal, the light is on, nothing but the data bit is 1. When the light is off, the data bit is 0. We are giving input. Suppose we are taking LED, we are giving input bit is 1. Already LED is on. When input is 0, light is off. That's why it is called the on-off keying. Here, this on-off keying modulation techniques are realized in two ways. That is how to implement this on-off keying in a real-time applications. That is two techniques, two ways. The first one is direct modulation. Second one is external modulation. Here the direct modulation is nothing but direct modulation is nothing but suppose you are going for sampling theorem. at the end of the sampling technique, we are going for quantization. Here, what is the quantization thing? But based upon the threshold value, we have to fix. The output is 0 or 1. Above the threshold voltage is 1. Below the threshold voltage is 0. The same thing here in direction modulation. Right, we are giving input is current, that is electrical signal. The output is light signal, that is optical power. This is the signal which we are giving. We are getting output directly modulated together. That is, whenever giving input is 1, automatically the light is on. Whenever input is 0, the light is off. This is a simple technique and very easy technique, but is there any drawback is there? The main disadvantage of this direct modulation is that the pulses are chirped. What is meant chirped or chirp? Chirp is a phenomena where in the carrier frequency of a transmitted pulse varies with the time and it causes broadening of the transmitted spectrum. Broadening of the transmitted spectrum. Nothing but suppose we have to take pulse. Suppose each pulse time period is 1 millisecond at the transmitting end. Once we have to go for modulation technique, we are getting output is the output of a light signal and transmitted through optical fiber cable. At the receiving end, we have to receive the signal, again convert from optical to electrical signal, but we are getting each pulse is 2 milliseconds. Nothing but we are transmitted a signal with a pulse of 1 millisecond. At the receiving side, where the pulse is 2 milliseconds. That is 1 millisecond we are getting extra. Nothing but the signal having noise also. That is called the chirp. These are main disadvantages of direct modulation. Right, that's why you are going for external modulation. External modulation. Here in this external modulation, we have to overcome the chirped method. Here in this external modulator, see this one. This is the modulator. This is the original data. That is message signal. This is for carrier signal. Carrier signal is laser. That is periodic pulses we are getting. Continuously the light is on. Continuously on transmitted. Here we are getting external. This is a message signal. This is a carrier signal. We are going for modulation takes place. Here whenever we are giving input message signal 1, the light pulse will be present. Whenever 0, this light pulse should be off. That is, whenever 1 is coming, the light signal of the modulator is present. Whenever 0, the light signal of a particular signal is off. That is 1 0 1 1. This is the method for external modulator. Right. Here, see this one. Here, this is finally written to 0. Right. This is 1. Go for 0. That is nothing. Say no signal. Again 1 is coming. Go for 1. That is written to 0 modulation. Right. Suppose we are going for the other technique. Right. Here, see this one. First one is DFB laser. What do you mean DFB? Distributed feedback laser, which generates continuous signal of a light signal. And this is a stage 1, stage 2. Stage 1 and stage 2, which see the stage 1 contain extra input clock. Why? What is the use of clock here? Right. For each clock period, it generates 1 pulse. In previous section, there is no clock. That laser directly generates a periodic pulses of a light signal. But here, based upon the clock, external clock only, the stage 1 output generate periodic pulses of the light signal. Next, stage 2, we are giving input at the non-return to 0 data. Here, whenever 1 is coming, the light pulses should be present. Whenever 0, nothing should be present. This is the other method for NRZ, non-return to 0 modulation technique. Non-return to 0 technique. Here, see this one. Till now, we discussed about 2 types of the external modulators. Here, the another one is lithium niobate modulators are available. Lithium niobate modulator available. Here, what is the structure of this lithium niobate modulator? It is a combination of two directional couplers. It is a combination of two directional couplers, or it is called as a Mach-Zehnder interferometer. Already discussed about previous sections. What is a Mach-Zehnder interferometer? Nothing but it is a combination of two directional couplers. See this one. These are two. This is one directional coupler. This is the another directional coupler. Here we are taking two input signals. The first one is input message signal, another one is carrier signal. Both should be modulated, and finally we are getting output is a modulated output. Here in this structure, we are applying a voltage. We are applying a voltage to the coupling region changes its refractive index, which it in turn determines how much power is coupled from the input waveguide 1 to output waveguide. Here this voltage only can changes the refractive index of a particular waveguide and how it converts from unmodulated to modulated one. The another type is electro-absorption modulators. Electro-absorption modulators. Here this is another technique, attractive alternative to lithium niobate modulator. And the technique is same and fabrication is same. And but it is lower cost compared to lithium niobate modulators. But what is the use? The electro-absorption modulators uses a material such that under normal condition its band gap is higher than the photon energy of the incident light signal. This allows the input signal to propagate through it. Although we know that the band gap energies, that is E1 and E2. E1 is the lower energy state, E2 is the higher energy state. The E2 minus E1, which is equal to HF. That is E2 minus E1 is greater than HF value. HF value at that time it works as a modulator. Do you have any query? Type your query in a chat box. Thank you very much for attending today's section.